Good afternoon, Standing Strong. This is Adam from Physio. Just giving you a walkthrough of the PhysiApp program for those who couldn't make it to our meeting. So if you're coming into Standing Strong, you're being offered a home exercise program as part of your membership, and that we do through a little app called PhysiApp. So PhysiApp is a free download you can get on the App Store or Google Play Store, depending on if you use an Apple or an Android device, and we'll go through that in a little bit. You can actually also access it via computer or tablet just on a website as a web address, and we'll go through that in a bit too. But you can also download the PDFs, which get sent to you as well, which is the document version. It is designed to be a follow-on program based on an app or PC because they are videos. So if you were to follow along based on a printout, you will see the descriptions of them, but you won't see the actual techniques. And so that part of it won't be really wonderful for you because that's not what it's designed for. Now, in the future, we have written a book that's going to be published soon. I can't give you the exact date on that because we don't know yet, but it has been written and it will be published hopefully sometime in the first half of the year is the plan, but don't hold us to that, for a paper-based resource for those who would prefer that. But in the meantime, this is going to be our follow-on resource for an indefinite period where you'll get a little individualized code and you'll just go through and put your exercises on. So the idea behind this was to supplement what you're already doing in class, learn some techniques more deeply, get some more balance, strength, and mobility exercises in throughout the week without it being onerous. So for some of you, you'll find that you're only doing about 5 minutes a day, 5 to 10 minutes a day of exercises. And the idea was to build that habit up. So you're just getting the frequency going, consistency going. And then once you've got that going, you can build it up more in terms of time. Okay, so you can go for it in terms of an hour a day for all we're concerned. That would be wonderful. But we don't want you to start at an hour a day because it's just not achievable. We want you to start with a few minutes at a time, getting into the habit of doing exercise as a lifestyle and then building up from there. So we've interspersed it throughout the week that you won't get all the same exercises on the same day. You'll get mobility on some days, you'll get balance on other days, and get strength on some days. And some days you'll get all three. And so what we've done with mobility, so mobility is joint mobility, which is the amount of movement kind of in your joints. So how in managing stiffness and that sort of thing. And we want to do that most days. And so you'll see that the joint mobility program for each level is there. For balance, we also want to do that most days. But I've put it there for 5 days a week, so you can have a couple of rest days. For strength, we've only put it there twice a week. So it's quite an easy program to start with for a lot of people. If you're new to exercise, you might find it challenging, and that's okay. So the idea is that everyone's got an individualized code. So in time, we can make it and tweak it to your level. But just for people starting, just get in the habit of using the app, getting to learn the app and the interface, because that'll take a little bit of time for some people. And getting used to crafting exercises into your day-to-day routine, because we're trying to create lifelong exercises and give you the techniques to do it. So that's the idea. So Standing Strong is built on the pillars of mobility, balance, and strength. There are other things that we need for fitness, like endurance, reaction time, flexibility, all these other things, and they're important. But mobility, balance, and strength are the three things that are present for most people that will give you the most bang for your buck, so to speak. They'll give you the most improvement. Because if you're too stiff, you have to use a lot of strength to move, and you can injure yourself by trying to force stiff joints through movement. If you don't have good enough balance, well, then when you're walking around, obviously you can have an increased risk of falls and the like. And strength, you need a baseline level of strength to be able to lift loads, even just carry yourself around, get out of the car, all that sort of stuff. And so we want to make them the pillars, and everything else we build off that. So really use this program as a way of increasing your technique and understanding about your body. Okay, so I'm going to go through a few little things about the PhysiApp, and I'm going to share my screen now. And So here we go. So we'll see, this is one of the, oh, sorry, I'll show you the apps. So if you're using an Android device, and an Android device is like a phone that's not an Apple device, okay? So it uses Google as its operating system. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't stress. It probably means you're not using the system. But Google Play, which is, you can see this little, where I'm circling up here, you can go on your phone to the app that's called Google Play, and you can download this app, which looks like this for free, okay? And so you would install that, and you can see over here, I'll just move myself out of the way. You can see over here, the PhysiApp logo is this kind of green and white little cross with the arrows. So you can download that for free. And then once you get that, that's your basic thing. And then we send you an individualized program code and you log on and it's your program. No one else can see it except for you and your therapist, in which case, which is me. If you've got an Apple phone, like an iPhone, you can do the same thing. It's the same app, but you're just downloading it off the App Store. Okay. So the download is for free. You've just got to remember that when you're downloading from the internet, you will often need to enter your either Google or Apple ID. And sometimes people forget what that is and their code's there. That's not something I can help you with because that's a personal code between you and Apple and you and Google. So you'll have to follow it up with those places. If you get stuck, please do reach out because we can try and help you through that process. So that's the app, yeah? Now, the first thing that people get stuck with is it's PhysiApp and not PhysiTrack. Now, PhysiTrack, and I've just put in a program under myself. PhysiTrack is the same company as PhysiApp, but it's where the therapist actually put in the program. So it's our interface that we use to provide programs for you. Now, some people, because it looks similar, have been downloading that one and trying to put their code into that one, and they're getting error messages, and it's because you're not putting it into PhysiApp. Does that make sense? So you've got to go into PhysiApp rather than PhysiTrack. Now, if you're using it off a PC or laptop or tablet, as in you're typing PhysiApp into a browser, so that would be like something like Safari if you're using an Apple, or Explorer, or Chrome if you were using a PC. You just go into this login address there, which was au.physiapp.com/login. But if you just put au.physiapp.com, it will come up. Now, in my one, it's basically said my session's expired. And sorry, I'll just move this out of the way for you so you can see. My session's expired and I just had to enter my code in again. So this was my individual code, and you put in your year of birth. Just make sure you put in your year of birth, not your date of birth. So don't put in the day of the month, just your year, and then you just press access your program. Now, if you do, if your language is in here and you want to put it, you can actually change it. Okay, so if you speak Spanish as your first language or something else, you can always change it there. But I speak English, so I'm going to put it into here. So when you click on it, it'll come up as today up here. So today is all the things on today that I want to do for exercises. And that's all you have to concern yourself with. The next day and the next day, they will come up as separate days. But every time you log in, it'll just come into the default day. Now, I've put in as if I was a Banksia. Now, each program is different. I've got a Huon one, a Banksia one, an Angophora one, and a Warm Life. There's 4 different programs depending on your level. And each of the 3 introductory levels, so Huon, Banksia, and Angophora, will have a technique of the term. Okay, and so the technique of the term is the thing that we're really trying to get you honed in on so that you get it right. Because if you get this technique right, you'll find it makes its way into all the other exercises and makes everything a lot easier moving forward. When you get to Wallamai level, you won't have a technique of the term. And the reason for that is when we put in the movement flow for you, and you'll know what I'm talking about if you've got to that level, we've put in all the previous techniques of the term within that flow. Okay, so the previous techniques are the hip hinge, the pelvic lift, and the calf raise with good technique. And all those find their way into the movement flow. And they're the things that you just need to keep chipping away at it. They're like scales in music. You just got to keep practicing. And even if you're really good, you just keep going and let it be a part of your body. Okay, so that's the technique of the term. And then we have joint mobility. Now, HEP just means home exercise program. So the joint mobility is the most days this is on, just the movement type stuff to get all the joints growing. And you can see that through here, I've only put like 5 reps of each one. So it's not going to take you very long. It's only going to take you a couple of minutes to get through those. Now, if you want to go more than that, if you want to do 15 reps of each one or 30 reps of each one, you're most welcome to, okay? But just don't go into pain or exhaustion or anything like that. And just try and, it's more important to build the habit daily rather than trying to do a lot more than that and then not be able to bounce back. Now, the next part is the balance. And you'll see there's a few exercises that involve restricting your movement onto one leg or limiting your base of support or stepping or reaching. So they're the kind of balance things that we do. And then today, I don't have anything on strength because today is not a strength day. But if you were to have a look on another day, so I'll look at tomorrow, you'll see that I've got everything. Okay. But if I go to today, I don't have to do my strength. So there you go. So don't think that you've got programs missing. You don't. It's just that I haven't sequenced them for every day because you don't need every exercise every day. You need some of them every day. Some of them you only need a couple of times a week. So think of it as a prescription, like a doctor would say, take this medicine for this many days at this time. Exercise is a bit similar. You take strength a couple of days a week. You take balance more times a week, and you take mobility most days. And that's what we've put into your program. Okay. So we've made it intentionally easy to achieve in terms of the small numbers of reps, so you can actually get it done and get into that habit. But for those of you who've been exercising for some time, or you'll be finding it straightforward, feel free to add more time to the balance. You can actually, there's no real upper limit on balance. You want to do about 2 hours a week if you can, as long as your technique doesn't fail and you're not unsafe. And with the mobility, really, if you're doing up to 30 reps a day of each of those exercises, or even up to six times 30 reps a day, that's going to be plenty, right? And you probably won't need to do that much. But what I'm saying is you can go for it if you want, and but just use these as the guide, okay? And strength, you really need to just be doing twice a week to build strength. And if it's too straightforward, you increase your weight on that, okay? So stay with us for more instructions about how to progress things, because that's a little bit outside what we're doing today, but we're trying to coach you how to become lifelong exercisers. So keep involved with our webinars and the rest of things so that we can do that. So then you might go, okay, well then how do I get into these exercises? So no matter if you're on an app or I'm actually on a laptop at the moment. Say if I go into the technique of the term and all you do is click on this and it'll come up with the technique. And you'll see the little, it'll say, no equipment's needed for this one. You've got 5 repetitions in 1 set. So 5 repetitions, a rep means repetition. So it's 5 repeats of doing the same thing. Set is how many times you do, a bunch of repetitions. So a bunch of repetitions is a set. So essentially all we're saying is just do this a few times until you get used to it. And it goes through all the technique in writing in terms of what you do here. But when you want to see the video, you just click on the video and you'll see Simon do a technique here. So this is the hip hinge. So you can just keep pressing on it until you get the idea of the movement. And then you're just going to have to practice it yourself. So the idea is not to have a video where you're following along as a long video. And the reason why we haven't done it that way is because it's an exercise by exercise based program rather than a video long program. And the reason is because it takes a long time to upload a video. So it's a short and snappy thing. So if you're finding it challenging to remember, just keep playing it over and over again until you get it. Keep practicing. It doesn't matter if you get it all in the one hit. Yeah. It'll take some weeks for some of you to really get familiar with this. And that's the idea. So don't be worried if it takes a little bit of time, and don't be overly perfectionistic about it either. Just try and get 80% of it right and you'll make some improvements. Okay. If you're concerned or getting pain, you can just let me know and we can help you out. When you do this, you say I've done my exercise for the day, I press complete. and I'll see how it goes. And now if I do want it to do more than 5 reps, I can actually change it here. And if I want to put my pain there, so say I was struggling with a hip issue and I did have a bit of pain there, I could click on there and put a pain score out of 10. I can also put feedback, like, Adam, I really don't like exercise for some reason. And I could put 2 there. Okay, and then it will save it. And then I'll be able to see your stats on my end. It's just me who sees it, no one else. But it allows us to help you progress on your program better and give you better feedback. So for instance, if you were doing exercises and there were certain exercises that were causing you pain, it gives us an idea about which exercises to choose for you or how to modify your program. The other thing it will do is, like, if there's certain days that you're not getting them done, we can give you an idea of, oh, that might be the harder day to get it done. So maybe look at some solves around that. So there's lots of different reasons for journaling exercises, but the people who journal and track their exercises do tend to do better. We know that from the research, and I will say from the people that use it with us here, all tend to get far better outcomes. So I strongly encourage you to make a habit of tracking your exercise, okay? And the more you track it, the more you engage with the program, we can actually individualize it further for you and you can get the most out of it. And then you would just go to the next exercise and it will take you to the next one. Now, because that was in the one section, it said that I've 100% completed the Banksia technique of the term. And then I go down to the next one, which is joint mobility. And I can go through each of here and I can complete all these and off I go. Okay, now when I just say I was like, I didn't finish it, I can just close it at any time and you'll see that I've done 20%. So when you come back later, I know I've got the rest of the 4 to go. Okay, so you would just keep going down. But the idea is it will take you about 5 to 10 minutes a day. Some days it won't take you less. Sometimes it might take you more. And again, if you want to do more, feel free, and we can even change the reps on your app to reflect that. Okay, so engage with it, give us feedback, tell us what's working, what's not working, and see how you go. Now, on some of yours, you will get what's called an outcome measure. So you won't get on all of them, but some of you have been selected to put complete a survey for me, and that's just to help us understand how the programs are going, what to do about them, how we can help you, how to make it better, all that sort of stuff. And the question you'll get is, about your use of PhysiApp. And it's just one quick question. You just click on your answer and off you go. Then when it finishes the program, so at the end of the term, you will also get another question that's slightly different. So again, just follow the prompts on the screen, and it just helps us to continue to evolve the program and make it more useful to you. So it's not going to be the same program forever. For people who've used this before, we've kept the same program as the last term only because I feel that you need to get techniques a little bit stronger before we progress you, so we don't give you pain or injury. But really, really work on your technique and your adherence and getting that consistency in. Okay, so that's the PhysiApp. Now, the other thing that you can do, and I'll just bring this up the other end, is doesn't matter if you're on the tablet or phone or PC. You can track different things. So on your preferences, and a lot of the places will set this up for you on the way, and some of them you can do afterwards. So everyone's different depending on your phone. But you can put notifications on to say, send me a reminder to complete my exercise. So I put a reminder at 9:30 in the morning to just give me a little bit of a notification, and it'll say, time to do your exercises. But if that annoys you, just turn it off. Okay. But if you want to put a reminder on a couple of times where you're doing it twice a day, you can put it a few times, okay, and it'll come up multiple times. And then off you go. So the next one you can go is in settings, and you can just make sure it's all in kilos, in English, in the right time zones, but you don't really need to check that. And then when you go into programs, you can also see the printable versions of the programs here. So for those of you following online, this will be emailed out to you, but you can put it in text. And you can also print the tracking sheet, and I'll show you what that means, is when it comes here, and it usually takes a few seconds just to kind of load for you, you can see that it'll go through the exercise like this. Now, what I was saying before is see how this has got the car phrases of the technique, and it gives you the description, but because it's a video, it's not actually coming out as, you can't actually see clearly what Simon's doing because it's trying to cut off a video for you, and we haven't done it that way for you. All right, so this would be more for those people if that kind of helps you just remember what they are, but you won't be able to use this as actually a technique advice because you can't see what he's doing. Now, we do have resources planned for the future for that kind of thing, but it's it's a different type of thing to do, and we've done it in book form, but that looks to be published in the future. Now, with the tracking things here, you can also see, you can tick off the boxes and the dates. So you've got the dates here, and you can tick in how many reps and sets you did and the pain there for each individual exercise. So it's fairly self-explanatory. And again, if you have any questions, just continue to email us or text us or grab us after class until you understand it, because I'm very confident that all of you will be able to get it. It's just that the first couple of goes, because it's a new system, there's a few teething issues, there's a few gremlins in the system, so to speak. Once you get past that, it's really quite clean and it's a friendly program, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. So persevere through that and don't feel like you can't contact us because we want it to be successful for you. Okay, so what I'll do is we'll come back here if we can. And then when you want to come back, you can also go to your results thing, and it won't make a whole lot of sense after you've done it once, but after you've done it for a week or two, you'll start seeing basically traces of your pain. So the trace of your pain is in this little line, right? And ideally we want that to be under 4. We ideally want it to be 0, but we want to keep it low. So I don't really want you to exercise through pain, okay? Now with this one here, the little blue shaded line, that's the adherence rate. So up here is the 100%, 50%. So you can see on this day I've been adherent and I had about 1 out of 10 pain on that week. Now, once you see more stats, you'll be able to see a better flow, and I'll be able to see that too. So it just helps you to, to keep up to date. And we can see your outcome measure too here, okay, in terms of your score. So don't worry too much about that because that's more the stuff that we need to use. Now, on the messages, there's a little message tab here. You won't necessarily see it on the app straight away until you start sending me a message. But remember how I said in that section where I said, oh, Adam, I really don't like the exercise, and I put it here? It actually will mean that I can communicate with you back and forth. So if you have a question, and again, no one else sees it but me, but if you have a question like, when I did this one, my foot was sore, I can give you some feedback on some of the things to maybe try and see if we can sort it out there. Now, some things we can't resolve over the PhysiApp text because it's an individualized issue that needs one-on-one attention. And sometimes people need to come in and see a physio or see myself to do that. But a lot of the things I can just say, oh, have you been doing this or da-da-da-da-da? Or we can say this exercise might not be for you, for your medical condition at this time. So just leave that one and we can substitute something else in there. All right, so you can actually talk through the messages out there. So that's a really nice feature. Obviously, I can't text you back within minutes, but my hope is to, I'll definitely get back to you within that week, okay? But I'm hoping to get back to you within the business day if I can, okay? But you can also just write down any notes more for yourself. So as you're writing down the feedback, you could just say, oh, I just got to remember that my shoulder's got to stay lower in this one or something like this. And it just helps you to get that feedback for yourself. And then when you want to go back to your program, just click on programs and you'll come back to here. Now, I would recommend not signing out each time. Just leave it on in the background in your app, and you won't have to, all you have to do is click on the app or come into here, and you won't have to, providing that you do it daily, you're not going to have to re-log in very often. So it'll just prompt you every now to log in. So keep your code handy, written out somewhere. and then, but you won't need to put it in every time. Okay. So that's a little run through of PhysiApp. I hope that makes rough sense. Don't worry if you don't understand it fully. That's not the idea. Just start with what you can. You can't do anything bad to it, right? You can't break the system. So if you're worried that you press the wrong button, nothing is going to happen to your computer. Nothing's going to happen to the program. Nothing's going to happen to anything. Okay, so you can't break it. So don't stress if that happens, but just have a go. Just flick around on the exercises and get used to it. And then if things go wrong, we'll fix them as we go. Okay. So well done for taking this up. I just highly encourage you to keep going with this, and it will help you to reach some of those exercise goals that you're setting for each other. Okay, all the very best. I'll just stop the share here, and we'll stop the recording, and we'll put it up for later. Okay, thanks very much.